All right, welcome to the second video of this YouTube channel. This video is going to be more sales driven. I'm actually doing something I've never done before, which is posting one of my sales calls. And it's a discovery call from my company, ConversaGen. This is actually going to be a realtor who came to me through Instagram. You'll hear in the call when I play it that he's been following me on Instagram for quite some time, so that helped with the credibility of things. But essentially, this realtor was struggling cold calling on his own, didn't really have systems in place or callers in place to call for him. And this call specifically is special to show, and you'll see the way I break it down more in depth of what I mean. But I believe it was really special, and I wanted to show this one because there's skepticism, there's pushback, and it really breaks down the philosophy of how I treat sales in general, not just on discovery calls, but even outside. If I'm buying something, whatever it is, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but this will show you my philosophy on how a discovery call should go, building rapport, and just tying in the information that I retained into the actual closing process as well. So there are some things that you'll see that are a normality in this business, that are cliche, that any salesman who's taken more than 100 sales calls should be doing off the top of his head. But a lot of it is also a mix of my own custom philosophies when it comes to this business. So I hope you enjoy. This was actually an hour discovery call condensed into 18 minutes. And I was a bit sick around this time, so you'll hear me like coughing and stuff. That's just a disclaimer, I guess. You'll actually hear things about my service as well, about ConversaGen, and you'll hear how I really handle his objections. There are going to be multiple moments where I pause and you see my beautiful face and background again, and I'll explain kind of what my methodology or thought process was at the time and why I did the things that I did and what I was thinking at the time. So just really a full sales call breakdown. I did end up signing these clients for a month. I could have pushed for the 2, went for the month, but we ended up signing. To me, that is worth $24,000 because average client retention rate is 12 months. So I hope you guys pick up on some things that I also don't point out, just because this video would be 2 hours long if I did a full in-depth breakdown. And I hope you guys also see the things that I use to my favor. And that's really the whole point of this call. So you should pick up a lot of nuggets from this 17-minute video, and that is the whole purpose of this channel. And cool. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you pay attention. I hope your attention span is solid today, and I'll see you on the other side. How you doing? Where's the I hear the accent. It's the first thing I heard.
I'm born and raised here in Chattanooga, but I don't know. I grew up around a lot of culture, so some people say I have a bit of an accent sometimes.
Nice, man. I like it. I like it. It probably works well for you on the phones.
I honestly, man, I'm killing it on the phones, bro. You
Yeah.
just gotta call your life away.
Nice, man. Yeah,
I
of
feel like I know
course.
you, even though I don't know you. I've been watching your videos for a while, man.
I hear an accent, I ask about it, knowing that this is going to build rapport and it's going to help you understand his background and to understand their personality. Because many people, I reference them to a specific personality, which helps me understand and frame how I'm going to act during the call. And it is a sense of manipulation. I mean, at the end of the day, we all manipulate, we just don't say it up front. And there's, again, subconscious manipulation and there's conscious manipulation. But to the point, I'm going to try to stay on track here as much as possible. It helps me frame myself in a better position. That's why surroundings as a salesperson matter so much, because if you understand different cultures, ethnicities, and backgrounds, you have a higher chance of relating to all of these people, not on a business level, but on a personal level. So off the bat, I got to understand his personality and that he's been following me on Instagram for a while. So that gives me a sense of leverage as well.
All of a sudden, I saw that you had this like new AI cold calling thing, and I was like, I cold call all the time, and the problem is
Yeah.
my market is I have a very niche market. My market is very niche. There's only a few really big top dogs around here. And so I'm trying to look at other creative ways to get better information than them to get the leads really, because that's all it really comes down to. Because I'm making the calls, I'm doing everything I need to do. I just got to get the better information than they're getting. And so I thought,
100.
well, this guy knows what he's doing. Maybe he's been grinding behind the scenes and figured out something crazy with AI to get people's information. Because yeah, my market is like it's only expired and cancels. Like that's literally how I get 90 to 95% of my business, and it's just like there's just so much competition for it. So I'm just trying to see what else is
Sure.
what else is out there.
Completely valid. How long have you been a realtor?
I've been doing it since I was 18, so I'm 22 now. So I've been doing it for as long as I legally been able to. Um, love doing
So
it though.
so yeah, so first off, love that you said that. What inspired you to become an agent? Why not get into insurance or something else? Why real estate?
I always thought real estate is one of the best ways to not build a life for myself, but for my future kids as well. I just honestly, I love talking to people. I love where I live, and I always knew that I wanted to do real estate. Like when I was like 16 or 17, I was literally trying to get a job at like trying to be like a office manager. Um,
Yeah.
I wish, don't get me wrong, I wish I would have bought Bitcoin at that time instead, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. I see real estate as one of the best ways to build long-term wealth, really. I think of people who bought houses in the 60s and the 70s. People don't understand that eventually one day every single house is going to be $1 million because inflation. I just spent $5 today on a bag of Fritos. I was like, what the crap, bro?
I know, it's crazy. So super important to reference as we continue getting more saturated in the sales industry. People need to understand to stand out. You don't have to be the best salesman. You have to be the best person. And that's my philosophy. Again, many people will disagree with me. Many people will say, hey, Dylan, stay on track in the sales call, speak about the product. But I take a more personal approach because at the end of the day, I'm a human. The person on the other line is also a human. And money's not the most important thing, right? I always take the time to learn about a person's background, also to understand their life, understand their goals, understand their philosophy and their ideologies. And that's my passion. That to me is interesting. To someone else, it might not be. And my salespeople, personally, I will train them to always think that way because too many times I will personally hop on sales calls. Maybe I want to try a new software or anything of that sort, and the salesman is just very robotic, and there's a level of robotic that is acceptable in terms of my time is valuable, let's make this quick, but then there's also a sense of robotic that's just unbearable. And again, the more we get saturated in this market, in the sales industry, the more that people come out there with their products, try to sell things all the time, the more important it's going to be more personal. Make us accustomed to it is very interesting. Like gas shot up. Now filling up a tank of gas for $60 became a normality, so everyone's kind of used to it. The median age to buy a home or average age to buy a home these days is around 40, which
Yeah.
is pure insanity. But there is a big like wealth transfer that's happening. A lot of the boomers are obviously, passing away. It's the way of life.
Hmm.
So a lot of those assets are kind of going there, but to younger generations, but it's going to keep going up, and that's just the way the dollar works. So, and speaking of Bitcoin, you're not the only one on that boat. Trust me.
Hey, man, for sure.
I was playing Black Ops 2 when
Hey,
I should have been
you
buying
and me
Bitcoin.
both. You
But
and me both. Dude, I've seen Black Ops 7 gameplay, but I don't even have time for that
oh,
stuff
it's
anymore.
so bad. It's so bad. You saw the campaign?
But yeah, I've
It's
seen some stuff
horrific.
online. It's
I feel bad, man. Like it's like I grew up playing, Call of Duty Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3.
hmm
It's very upsetting to see these
I
things.
I get it, man. I'm right there with you. And they even
But
got some
no,
Black Ops 2 maps.
they got hijacked on there, I saw. But this one guy, it's so funny. He posted this video. He's like, I've been playing hijacked since I was, a
25. And
a
now
freshman in high school. I'm
and now
40.
I
I'm 40
saw
years old now.
I
And
saw that too.
so as important as it is to get into personal things, as you saw, we spoke about video games, things like that. It's also just as important to take the conversation back to what matters. And that's my rebuttal to people who tell me don't get personal on calls, keep it at a surface level. I will get deep, but the only reason I will get deep into personal is because I know how to transition it and relate it to what really matters in that specific moment or for that specific call. So at this point, following, you will see that circle back into real estate conversations. I started real estate at the same age as you. I started a bit differently. I was getting my license and then I met this wholesaler, one of the biggest wholesalers in Miami. He convinced me to do wholesaling instead.
Yep.
So, which is like, I'll never, ever regret that because I was pounding the phones every single day, Monday through Friday, $1,500 per day. learned like the investment side of the business. So I became a realtor, did residential for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I like commercial. Got into commercial, started doing multifamily. Then it got to a point where I started posting content. And then I had agents messaging me, and they would message me and say, "Hey Dylan, could you ever cold call for me?" So it got to a point where I said, I don't have the time to do it. However, I could hire someone and train and manage them to make the calls for you. I was like, why don't I just make this a business? And that's essentially what ConversaGen is. As simple as that may seem to you or someone else who's been in this industry for a while, you really need to understand that there's a difference between watching it and actually doing it. To be able to take a conversation from a specific flow, a natural flow, into the selling or the discovery process of the call is a very special thing. And to do it in a way where you're not being super salesy. For example, I'm only on this call just to sell you something is very special again. So I hope you guys picked up on how smooth it was for me to transition from building the common ground, the personal side of things, into telling him or the prospect about the business. And now you'll see we get into the business conversation and the discovery process officially begins for me. My philosophy on like this whole business is focus on closing rather than making the calls yourself. Time that you put into your business will mainly be focused on working with warm and hot leads rather than working cold leads. Pay attention to how I tie back all of his personal things that he mentioned in the beginning of the call into the conversation now. And that's why I say, again, another factor of why personal matters and building rapport on a deeper level matters is because you learn things that you might have not known before you start selling the prospect. So because we got into the personal side of things and he told me about his emotional aspect on the business and how he's been running his business, I'm able to tie those pieces of information and use it in this conversation to help better my approach in terms of, hey, you need this service and we're here to help you and we'll be able to help you. Also, notice my hand movements, notice my body language. It's very stern. Something I struggled with in the beginning with this like whole Zoom era was looking at the camera and making eye contact on Zoom. Many people leave that out and pretend that you're there in person. I want you to pick up on that as well. But this is the part where we go a bit more deeper into question based. So tying his personal information that he gave me without me asking into breaking that down and dissecting it. So later on, we have a less chance of receiving objections from the prospect. You had I would say it's an advantage. You had the advantage of doing the cold calling yourself, right? So you understand that business. You went through the mud, so to speak. Like if you were to start a car wash, you want to be the one washing cars first before you're the CEO. So you went through that. Now maybe you're at a point in your career where you want to automate that side, but focus on closing more. And if you focus on closing more, it translates to you making more, right? So that's the whole philosophy of this business model. Would you say data is like your biggest bottleneck, or is there anything else? Do you maybe want to get away from the phones a little bit?
I just bought a duplex myself last week for my second property, and like the last week I've been moving. I haven't been on the phone that much, and so like I feel like I'm not as busy, and that's just because I haven't been on the phone as much. That like I do social media, I do all the stuff to try to put my name out there, but really cold calling is the only thing that really like puts food on my plate. You know what I mean?
The last thing I'm gonna say is stop cold calling, right? I had this wholesaler come to me yesterday and he's like, Dylan, I want to start wholesaling. I told him get a caller, simultaneously cold call, but then after a month or 2 months, you'll see what's more worth your time because you won't believe that hiring one of my callers is gonna allow you to, free up your time and not make cold calls until you see it for yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the point is like I treat my pipeline, any realtor's pipeline, any wholesaler's pipeline, I treat them as engines. So it's
Hmm.
like you're on the phones and your business stops because you don't have anything else supporting your engine and feeding your engine.
Yep.
So this is what ConversaGen is. The ConversaGen is the gas to your pipeline, to your car,
Hmm.
right? In this moment of the call, I've gotten enough information about him and an understanding that we, ConversaGen, the company, is actually able to help this person. The last thing I'm going to do is work with someone that doesn't need the help. So once I build this understanding and it's concrete, from there, I also need to understand if the prospect themselves is someone that fits into our company culture, is someone that we are willing to work with. And that is exactly why we average 8 to 12 months on our retention rate, because our ICP is very, very specific and niched, and we qualify people before they even pay us. Just because someone's throwing their credit card at us or willing to pay for our service does not mean that you should always be working with that person.
Since I'm trained to continue to like call even after the resistance, because I've had people who have told me to never call me again, and then I call them next week and I get the appointment, and the next thing you know, I have their house listed.
There you
So
go. And
I,
I'd love
it's
to hear. I'd love to hear you cold calling one day.
it's all in timing. That's all it is. People don't understand that. Like that's all you have to do with anything. It's all in timing. So like even if I get somebody and they answer and they're in a rotten mood that day, I'm gonna save their number regardless. I'm gonna try them 2 weeks later and see if I can get them at a better time. Like that's literally the like
I found this portion of the call super funny because you can see my oxytocin starting to flow when it's an actual client that fits into our ICP. I start getting excited, when someone has the knowledge in terms of, how to follow up with leads, the cold calling knowledge, the cold calling background is someone I really, really want to work with. And around the 9 minute mark, I honestly at that point wanted to hire this guy. And I wish he would have worked for my company because his ideology on cold calling, following up with leads, routing leads, and saving records that most people don't save was super similar to my thought process and my ideology on it. So I thought that was a pretty funny portion of the call. But at this point, I know that this guy would work with us. He needs our help. He has a valid reason for it. He's qualified, and let's see where we take it from here.
like I don't I'm like you. Even if someone answers and it's their voicemail and I know it's that person, I'm saving that person's information because that to me is a lead. That's not just I mean that some people will be like, oh, they didn't answer. No, they that I know who that person is, and I know that if I can get them to answer, what I can turn it into.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's very ironic you say that. First, I love your philosophy because we just started working for a commercial investor. It's our first ever commercial client, and he
Oh
only
well,
buys small warehouses. And we're using a specific dialer for him because commercial is less volume.
yeah,
I noticed my caller, every time he would get a voicemail, he would kind of display that lead wrong. And what I said was my philosophy is if you hear, hey, this is John, and the lead's name is John, save the number because
facts.
that is like people don't value those records. Again, like to have
Those,
someone's phone number and for it to be correct
hmm
is a huge thing in this industry.
yeah, that's gas. I
Um,
mean, you just got to call them at the right time. That's all it comes down to. You don't know what that
correct.
person's going through that day.
Yep. And then the one thing we started testing, and this is a little nugget for you, man, is the people that you can't reach, like the people who were not in service, their numbers weren't in service, right?
Hmm
Save those people in a separate list because just because you didn't get them doesn't mean that someone else got them. Most people aren't able to find those records or the right number for those people. So that means what? That means that those people haven't been contacted before, which means there's a sense of like exclusivity to those leads. So
Yeah.
anyone that has not in service number that we can't reach. Yeah, man, I love your thought process with this. I love the fact that you understand the business very well. When I first
hmm
started this company, our biggest pain point was working with people that didn't know how to close, right? Because what happens is we send motivated leads, but of course there's still extra work that needs to be done from the close side.
Yeah.
And what I realized is, okay, we would send 20 to 22 leads per month. Out of those 20 to 22 leads, a couple would close. And then we had those clients where they wouldn't close at all. And they come back to me and say, hey, Dylan, your service doesn't make sense to me because XYZ. But in reality, the service doesn't make sense to them because they're not taking the lead seriously. They're not following up. They're not building the right relationships. So moral of the story is I've become super like niched with who we work with.
hmm
So hearing the things that you're saying is like music to my ears because it just says that we would work well together because at the end of the day, this is a partnership. So that being said, do you have any upfront questions right now? I've always done this, and it's something that I always wonder why many salespeople don't do in discovery calls or in sales calls is before you get into price, before you start leveraging all of the things that were said and you start going for the close, ask for any personal or specific questions that they might have, because those specific questions, 9 times out of 10, will be the objections that you're going to hear when you go for the close. So let them almost object themselves, and let yourself handle the objections from a question based perspective that came from the prospect, rather than you saying something and then them objecting. So you're kind of evening out the playing field, and you're almost taking an advantage. Like, this is home advantage, and this is how you should always operate. You, as the salesman, always control the conversation. So I'm allowing objections to be made without me being the one or the cause of the objection.
I mean, really it's just cost. I mean, I have a small team under me as well. So I mean, I have two agents who work under me, um, which is nice. But it's just like I know what I can do. I know my work ethic, but it's kind of hard to build drive into people sometimes. So like this, if we were in agreement, are those can I give those to my team, or are those like exclusively to me, or like how does that work?
Those nurture leads who are maybe in lower price points than what you're used to, you can definitely pass it to your two agents. So you're
Mm,
focused on, the fat, high fat quality steak, rather than, the lower undercooked steak, more or less.
I like all steak, bro.
Me too, man. Me too. But
Hey,
hey, your your
I,
your time is the most precious steak possible, right? I thought about this yesterday before I went to sleep. I was thinking, because with my content, I'm thinking, do I want to have a niche? And yeah, although a niche is important, what's more important is an intent, right? So like, your intent is to be better. Your intent is to grow something, speak to people. It ties into your goals as well. You don't have to have you don't have to have everything mapped out, is my point. As long as you have the right intention,
Mhm.
it's going to flow, and the universe will give you those opportunities naturally. So we finally reached the points that you have most likely been waiting for. We are going to get into the close now. I'll show little snippets of it. With the close, I take all the info that I built up and retained, and I use that to frame the close. Listen to, the main thing that I would say pay attention to is how I use all that information that was taken from the prior moments of that call. And most importantly, listen to my tonality, the way my body language is. I don't change the way I act when I receive an objection, and I don't change the way I act if I do get a close. And this is very important. So I'm playing short snippets of it. There are parts where I speak about my company more internally that I can't necessarily play here, but I'm excited for you to look at how this client was closed and finished up.
So $2,000 a month.
Correct.
Yeah. No, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to like move forward today on anything, but I would definitely like more information to like see, um, like maybe if you have other people that you've done it for already. Lead a day sounds really great, but the thing is, like, it all comes down to, like you said, like you're gonna check the lead and everything, it's gonna be good, but like still though, it all comes down to like how good those leads are. Because like if it really is a lead a day, and I can, let's say out of those 30 leads that I get sent a month, because I'm getting at least a lead a day sent minimum, maybe more than that, maybe it's 45, 50, whatever it is. But if out of those 30 days, if I don't get at least like 10 of those closed,
Mhm.
like really one or two, like you said, pays for it for the whole year. Um,
And then you get those phone appointments as well. So it's pretty powerful stuff.
do you have any other agents in my market that you're doing this for at all?
Not your market, no.
Not in my market, I didn't think so.
I find this is the most interesting part, because since the client was or the prospect was so comfortable in speaking with me, that he almost started selling himself on the service. And we got through the three core objectives, right? We understand that these are his needs. I have the solution to his needs and wants. And third, I understand that he is the right clients for our company culture. With that being said, when all three things are kind of checked off the list, I've noticed that I have a 100% close rate. Most of the calls that don't close that I've seen with other salespeople and myself, they're not personal enough. They're very stern. And I'm not sitting here and saying every call is going to go this way, where you're going to get so deep, or where you're going to get a prospect that's this expressive. Because let's be honest, this guy and this client is very, very expressive. I love him to death. He likes to talk and he's very outgoing. So it's much easier to build a rapport with him. But you will get those stern people who are just about their numbers. They're very analytical. They're very, down to the point. If I ever get those types of leads, that almost tells me that the company culture isn't necessarily a fit because I'm looking to work with humans, right? I'm looking to work with people that have an understanding, not just people who are money hungry. I think that's what separates a lot of agencies and a lot of businesses. Obviously, money is important, and I do like those people who value their time. But this is a partnership at the end of the day, right? When you're working with an agency, you're working with a marketing agency, in that matter, it should be a partnership. You're paying me, we're giving you the ROI. As long as I'm giving you the ROI, I continue being paid and being able to put food on the table. So that being said, I look for that personality, right? And if someone is ever stern, and I do see that they're just stern just because it's the way they are, I'll frame myself properly and I'll adjust to that person. But I will always, always, always find a way or a crevice to get into the personal aspect of things, and it will go the same way. So at this point, the client pretty much sold himself. He handled his own objection almost, which I really appreciated. And from here, you'll see the close. I did end up allowing him to do 1 month. That's just because his market was something that I was super confident in. And I was willing to do it because he matches the ICP. I really like him as a person, and I really like him as a businessman and a realtor. So it just made sense for both parties, and I gave him that ultimatum as well. And you'll see now how that was framed. So I want you to pay attention to how I framed the 1 month term rather than doing the 3 month term or even pushing for the 2 month term because I could have easily pushed for 2 months.
Just like, bro, you know how it is, like spending money. Like, I know I'm gonna get the money back and everything, but like, it's always like you hear $2,000 a month, you're like, oh. But the first time I ever started buying money on Vulcan, like spending money on Vulcan, a year and a half ago, I was like, oh shit, $350 a month. Oh God.
Yeah, no,
But I see the value in it now. So it's like,
it's
is there a way like I could do like 1 month, and if for some reason like I'm not satisfied, like we could cancel it?
typically I aim for 3 month retainers.
3 month retainers. So it'd have to be a 3 month minimum.
I mean, if you could talk me up to do a month to month with you, it
I
doesn't
mean,
have to.
I mean, shoot, Dylan. I mean, we can make it work a month. I mean, I would if like I said, if I'm satisfied that first month, you won't be hearing much from me except for, hey, Dylan, I like this. Let's keep this up. I got my credit card right here ready to go.
So just so I have a better understanding, your objection is you don't know how realistic it is to get 20 to 22 qualified seller leads.
Bro, it's been getting pretty bad the last month or so here. Like that's the only reason like I'm even looking at other options.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said, I'm only doing these canceled and expires. Like I do some circle prospecting, but it's not as much as I could. But I would be definitely down to like start this today. I mean, we could do it as like a first month thing, and if I like it, I mean, I would be more than happy to. Or if a minimum, if you needed a minimum of like 2 months, I could do that. To lock me in for at least 2 months, and then as long as like as long as the results are shown, then I have no problem continuing to keep up the same setup. You know what I mean? But if I spend 2 months and I spend 4 grand, and then at the end of the 2 months, I don't have I don't have crap to show for it. Well, then there's what you know what I mean?
Spend, my mom used to correct me all the time. I used to say all the time, wasting or spending, and she would always correct me, and it stuck with me so much because wasting is the wrong word because you're not wasting it, you're spending it. In your case right
Mm,
now, spending is the wrong word because you're not spending, you're investing it, right? So
yeah,
100%, if you see the results in 2 months, in the first month, you're not going to want to stop. I'll give you the reason why we do 3 months. The reason why we do 3 months is because when we send you a lead, realistically, how long does it take to close a sale in a listing? It takes around
back.
45 days. So
Back.
we always give a buffer to make sure that you're able to close something before you decide, hey, Dylan, this service doesn't work for me, right? Because you won't know until you actually start closing these leads. I would do this for you just because I'm confident in your market. I like you. Like you have a good, head on your shoulders, not just, in terms of like knowledge, but in terms of how you close in your sales process.
Hmm.
I would do a month for you. If we're able to take care of it today, I'll do a month for you. You can see how it goes for the month. Look at the lead quality. At this point, I really wanted to laugh during the call, but obviously I couldn't. He started reaching for his card as soon as I said, as long as we can take care of it today. And again, this is the type of clients I look for. This is the type of energy that I want when I work with people. And all of this was the result of proper rapport, proper qualification from both ends, and just a good, solid personal conversation where one party understood what they wanted and what it took to get what they wanted, and the other party also vice versa understood those things. And that is the translation of a good sales call, in my opinion. I ended up sending him the Stripe link. He ended up taking care of it on the call, and that is pretty much the end of the video. So I'm going to close it out here. I won't even do like an outro at the end. You can stay till the end to see how he pays, and again, pay attention to the body language even after the payment is complete. We don't get excited. We keep the same stern body language, and these are things, small little pointers that separates average salesmen to proficient and effective salesmen. So comment below. I'm watching the World Cup. Comment below who you have winning the World Cup, and I hope this video shed some light on my philosophy of sales, and I hope it helps you as well. So I appreciate you watching, and much more to come. And we'll take it from there.
Yeah, we can do a buzz. I got my card right here if you're ready. I look forward to it. I went ahead and paid it though. Can we?
Soon enough, I'll be at a point where I can offer like more of a hands-on mentorship with like how to set up your pipelines, how to manage your team. Not saying that you need it, but more so, hands-on like support.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just not there yet. I can't. I wish I could clone myself, but I can't.
No, it's all good. Well, I appreciate your time today, Dylan. I hope that you have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, man. Look forward to it.
I
Thanks,
appreciate you,
Carter.
boss. Have a good one.
You too.